Ladies and gentlemen, we are a little bit behind schedule this week, which is why, well, in lieu of a proper Random Wednesday episode, today we'll be doing an episode of Pinpoint. And yes, I know it's going to be a little bit shorter, it's going to, well, just be about a program, but this is a fairly special program because, well, I find this very useful, I have been using it a lot. So yeah, hopefully this will be useful for you. So without further ado, let us jump into this episode of Pinpoint.
Pinpoint, bringing you the very best of the internet.
Welcome to Pinpoint. Today, we'll be talking about a program called ConEmu, probably short for Console Emulator. Let's take a look at how this works. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my screen. Now, first and foremost, it looks like this. Yes, press a button and basically this console basically slides out and you can, basically use this like a DOS prompt. And basically, well, all your commands work as you would expect, right? You can browse around in folders, So everything you would expect out of a typical command prompt can be done here. The difference is that you can now do some special things. For example, highlighting, right, is fairly intuitive. Copying and pasting are things that just make sense. Also because, well, you know I work in education, and sometimes when I'm working with the command prompt, I like to be able to actually zoom in, right, to show something, just with a larger font size on screen. And I can do it with a console like this because it supports Control Scroll for zooming. So this is very convenient. Oh, and let's say I have a fairly long command, let's say some filters, right? And let's say I wanted to go back and change something, I can just click, right? I can just actually just bring my cursor around by clicking. So this is something that traditionally I really missed on, our basic command prompt. Of course, on top of that, there are all these fancy colors. So that's nice, right? This whole sliding up and down thing is called Quake mode, like the game. And it's actually sort of additional, right? It's actually not something that's switched on by default, but you can actually go into the configurations to set things up. So I'm just going to go very quickly into the setup here. As you can see, there are a lot of things you can actually control, right? So the one I just mentioned is over here, right? The Quake style. And you can even set things like the animation time, and you can also set things like which keystrokes actually activate this. So I'm not very sure where the Quake style one is, but right now I have it mapped to Control Tilt. So again, very much like your traditional gaming applications. There is a lot to configure here, right? There is also a page that actually allows you to change up, say, background image. That's pretty cool. Things like your cursor and colors, right? A whole bunch of colors you can actually choose from, including pre-built color schemes. So very, very high levels of customizability here. But I also want to draw your attention to this, which is integration. Now, the thing is, ConEmu can actually be integrated into your inbuilt file browser. So this is fairly cool, right? There is this thing called ConEmu here, and all that does is it just sort of pops up this program and has its folder sort of browsed to the right folder. That's not so interesting. What's more interesting is ConEmu inside. Yes, you can actually have a console appear within a folder itself, which is very, very cool. So let me just quickly show that to you. So basically I have a folder open here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop open a pane on the right. Then I can actually right click and say ConEmu inside. And this opens the command window here, right? I can even set it to synchronize, let's say if I were to create a new folder, right? I can set this to sync. Let me just open that on the full screen here so you can see it better. So I have this synchronization turned on, and basically when I browse into this folder, give it a moment, and the command prompt actually jumps over as well. So very, very cool stuff, right? I can actually just, run whatever I need to right here. This makes a lot of sense because a lot of the time when we have a command window open, we may want to do some sort of longer operation like FFMPEG on the contents of the folder. So what I can do is, well, there is clearly an association between these two, so say I have video files here, I can go ahead and just call one of my FFmpeg scripts. Usually I have them as pre-made batch files, so yeah, I can just run it on the spot. And it's sort of very clean, right? It doesn't actually pop up anything extra on your taskbar. So yeah, the program is called ConEmu for Console Emulator. Do bear in mind that basically what happens is this plugs into, some kind of command prompt. On Windows, you can have it, just plug into your normal CMD, right? So this normal command prompt, you can have it plug into PowerShell. And yeah, other command lines are possible as well. You can have this plug into Bash, for example. So yeah, very powerful, much more configurable, and always nice to sort of have just this slidey thing on top. Now, it is important to note that, the configuration for this main window is actually separate from the one that appears within your Explorer window. So that's interesting. You can actually set them to display in two different color schemes if you so desire. Very, very customizable. So yeah, highly recommended, very convenient, many features. So do head down to the video description if you're interested. You will find a download link to this program. Honestly, I'm still very, very new to this, and yeah, I just found that, this program just made things so much easier for me. Both in a classroom context, as I said, I do some teaching stuff, and also just sort of for my own use, because it's so nice to just associate a command prompt with an actual folder window. So yeah, that's basically it for this episode of Pinpoint. Again, I apologize for the lack of a proper Random Wednesday episode, but hopefully this is a tool that can be useful for you. And yeah, if you haven't been using it, do give it a try. That's all there is for this episode of Pinpoint. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net.
Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.